Welcome to the Poultry Keepers Podcast, where we talk poultry from feathers to function. In this episode, Jeff Mattocks, Karen Johnston, and Rip Stalvey will take you through the things you need to know to raise birds from day old until they lay their first egg. So let's get started, shall we?
So if you're going to use cord or an amprolium product, you may want to actually supplement with additional thiamine to protect yourself over that time. What, Karen?
Are you channeling Ingrid? Yeah.
No.
Can conventional coccidiosis treatment like cord be the cause of breast?
What?
Are you sure
Everything.
you're not
I love it.
channeling
Yep.
Ingrid?
No, I didn't see that.
That was why I was laughing.
That was priceless. That was priceless. What's our next question on our list here, Karen? Is it? Whoa.
Yeah.
You jumped ahead on me.
I clicked twice, and then I went back.
At what age should I change chicks from starter to grower? And to me, here again, it's one of those things. It's not a hard and fast rule that at this age I switch them over. Okay, but Jeff, what I'm going to reserve my thoughts before I get into trouble here. So, what's your thoughts on that?
Okay, so here is the simple rule of thumb for this. Okay, this is the way I tell people. So, depending on your breed and how long until it reaches sexual maturity, like when do you expect to see the first egg? I take that time frame and I divide it into 3 parts. Okay, so most of the time I'm working with a 24-week-old. A lot of your Brahmas and different things will basically be pretty close to laying that first egg at 24 weeks. I would want 8 weeks on starter, 8 weeks on grower, 8 weeks on a developer, right? If I could have it the way it ought to be, the way I was taught, it would be 3 equal sections, right? You're looking at a 22 starter, 18, 19% grower, and a 16.5 or 17% developer, right? That's the step down for the protein, and the energy needs to change along the way as well, right? So once you're in that developer phase, you do not want a high energy fat building type feed, because I don't want internal fat. We want the rest of the body to develop correctly: ovaries, testes, oviduct, all those sort of things. Anyway, that rearing period from chick to, I don't want to say maturity, but sexual maturity, where you might see the first egg, divide that into 3, and those are your break points. But still, going along with what Rip's saying, you have to be able to make observation. Are they fully feathered? Are these parts of their body properly? You can almost put a calendar on it, but then you still have to make the observation and see where they're at.
Yep.
And now I feel like they might not be improving recipe-wise, but availability-wise with shipping and that sort of thing. Back 10 years ago, I could not buy grower, except for meat bird grower, at the store. Do you know what I mean? Like,
you still can't, Karen. You still can't.
Okay.
Yep.
So how do people get something they call grower?
Yeah. Availability really isn't any better than it was 10 years. It's a little bit, just a little bit.
Well, I feel like you've got, they might not be quality, but you've got a lot more places that will deliver to you than used to be.
Yeah. You got some new players in the marketplace that are making feeds available that weren't typically available 10 years ago. I agree with you.
But how do you get to grower then? Because that's not going to be something that's sitting on their shelf waiting for them to buy. I don't have your book. Yeah.
It's not. And honestly, once you find a really good starter, I'd much rather, and we're happy to work with folks on these things, but if you can stay on the starter, and if you're willing to hand add like some oats to that or something else, some oats or some barley or even some alfalfa meal, that'll bring the protein down. That'll keep the energy under control. Adding corn or wheat or milo is going to keep the energy level too high for that grower phase. So people could do hand adds if they're willing to do it, and that makes the most sense. You're right. to find a heritage breed grower or a heritage breed even developer in the next phase, nearly impossible. And it's been my frustration, not with the group, but it's been my frustration with feed manufacturers, is they want to lump all chickens into very narrow categories, and this is all they make available.
Yeah.
So
I will say that I'm starting to see grower a little bit more than developer. I can't, the holding diet, because I can't, gosh, I don't know when I've seen that.
No such thing. Yeah.
no, I haven't either. And they figure most people with backyard flocks are just going to start feeding scratch or layer feed. And that's their idea. That 16% layer feed is their idea of a holding feed. And it's really not. I'm working with a few mills trying to get these formulas out, but it's not. They're few and far between. And people just are not very close to them.
All right.
Now,
So along those lines, John's asking, as you're switching, do you mix the different types of feed together when you switch over?
I like a 7-day transition. When you're getting close, I'd like to still have 3 or 4 days worth of starters, 3 or 4 days worth of growers, start mixing them 50-50 or so, just so you don't have a sudden transition. But if he's got his own feeds or something, for the folks who are making their own feed, we're always using the same ingredients. So I don't worry about a sudden transition. It's if someone's going from like a Nutrina feed to a Kalmbach feed, or if there's a big appearance change, or if there's a big aroma change, then you need to do a slow transition where you're mixing the two feeds together.
All right. Ingrid's got a doozy here. Then would it be wise for people who feed medicated starter to plan on some vitamin B supplementation once they get their birds on the grower feed?
Yeah, actually, they should probably be doing some extra vitamin B supplement the whole time. For folks who have been watching us for most of this 2 years that we've been going, they've heard me preach against medicated feed, especially folks in the groups where I'm like, I am anti-medicated feed. Sorry, folks, there's no need for it. There really is no need for it. Rip, you just started chicks. Did you feed any medications?
I did not.
And how did they do?
Better than anything I've raised before. And that's because I'm feeding a good high quality feed. I didn't even have so much as a sniffle out of these things.
Yeah. Good housekeeping, good sanitation, good bedding. That's really where it's at. There's no need to feed a medicated feed. The medications are only to control coccidiosis. And coccidiosis has to be ingested from the ground. If you're keeping your bedding and your litter managed correctly, you're keeping your feeders managed correctly, there's no need for this.
I can't help it. When you're on your 35th year of raising birds on the tiny property that you have and the way that you can manage, it's hard.
It'll happen, right? There's still ways around it, but they're not easy. I get it. You have such a buildup. And with the commercial flocks that I work with, larger scale, but they're still pastured. Yeah, we're fighting it. I've got places that have been raising birds on the same ground for the last 20 years. And now we're always being challenged with something, right?
I just want to say it for the people that literally are doing everything they can to be best by their birds, but they don't have the land. You know what I mean?
Yep. No, you're right.
All right.
And our next question, Miss Karen.
Question.
Is it okay to raise cockerels and pullets together? I don't like to do that. Cockerels are going to wind up bullying the pullets early on. They're going to eat more. They're going to keep the pullets around away from the feed. They're going to pick the females. I try to separate the sexes as soon as I can tell them apart.
I'm with you. Amen. 100%. I don't mind them feeding the same pullet developer feed or developer feed, but I can live with that, even though I did make a cockerel developer feed. But yeah, as soon as you can tell the sexes apart, you need to separate them. And there's other reasons behind that, but not everybody has the facilities to do it. But if you separate them, when it's time to bring them back together for mating, they're a whole lot more anxious and willing than if you raise them together.
Tell me, because the first thing everybody thinks is, I don't know who's who. I can't figure out who's the girls and who's the boys. What's the harm if you try to separate them and you don't get it quite right?
I don't know that there's a major harm there. It's not going to
Yeah.
be that many more days until you can tell who's who. Usually by 10, 12 weeks old, you've got a really good idea.
I'd say 6
For
or 7 if you're weighing, but yeah.
Yeah, but if you're weighing, but we just
Yep.
can't seem to get everybody to weigh. But you'll know the difference after, you'll know the difference after about 4 weeks if you're weighing, just
Yeah.
because the cockerels grow that much faster. But
That's all I want to say. People are always feeling like if I don't get it right, then I've messed something up. But you've gotten it 90% and it still helped them out.
Oh, sure.
All right. Rip,
And
what do you
here's
want to
a
do? Questions or?
well, I was going to plop this up here from Kerry Blackman. It's along the lines of what we were just talking about. Kerry wants to know, is there a way you can till the ground with lime or something to help keep down diseases?
you can. Now, this is a great question, and I am really glad Carrie brought it up. Now, not all lime is created equal. So I'm going to tell you that I prefer that you use a high calcium lime, which is sometimes known as feed lime or calcium carbonate. It has a better sterilization effect. And a couple things you can do. Yeah, you can work the ground, till the ground up. You can put the lime on. All that's great. Think about what you're going to plant as a cover crop, whether it's for the chickens or, better yet, this is where bringing on another species, whether you rent a cow or you get a small herd of goats or whatever, to eat that off and move those nutrients to somewhere else, right? Let them be absorbed by the animal. Sometime later that year, eat the animal. That's great. Or whatever you want to do with it. Just try not to make it one more pet if you can help it. But that's great, Carrie. That's exactly what people should be doing. And even for people who can't necessarily do it, just that application of high calcium lime after each rotation of birds, you can actually rake that in, drag it, or anything, just to slightly incorporate it, and then get something planted. I don't care if you're planting wheat. I don't care if you're planting barley, oats, whatever. Plant something besides just letting the weeds grow up. Something that your chickens are going to enjoy. Something that's going to move nutrients around from that location to another location. That's a great plan if people can incorporate it.
And they can check with the county extension office to find out what plants grow best in your area. I know way down here in deep sunny South Florida, it's hard to find stuff that does well. Check with your county extension office. They can steer you right.
Yeah, down your way, Rip, I would honestly, if folks would do it, I think I would bring all the birds in, because you get wet in the fall and winter. And my friends over in O'Brien that I stay with, that's the time when they are dragging the ground and they're seeding something beneficial. So basically you can do your whole patch, bring your chickens in to a coop area or yard area and just work everything at one time. And once it's up 6 or 8 inches, start turning your chickens loose, right? Give them something to eat. It works great. Sun hemp is a big one down there. Believe it or not, just the iron clay peas are another one.
Yeah.
So I'd be looking at sun hemp, iron clay peas, probably some oats. Some black oats do well in the South is a good mix. Yeah, and I can help folks as well. Working with so many different regions and territories, I could probably help them out. But if you've got a good extension office, like Rip said, give them a call and talk to them about cover crops or things like that, a blend of cover crop.
I wanted to reach for my phone. Iron clay peas. What a weird.
Cow peas. So in Florida, they like to call them iron clay peas. Once you get up into Georgia and the Carolinas, they just cow peas. But they're special down in Florida. They're iron clay peas.
I don't know how we came up with that one. I'll be honest with you.
Okay.
Blows me away.
My family grew up in Indiana, and they swear that back in the 60s that they called green peppers mangoes.
Yes.
They're like, I love mangoes. And I was,
Years
That's
and
a
years ago, they used to
fruit
do that here in
versus a
Florida too.
vegetable.
Really? How did a green pepper ever get dubbed a mango?
Yeah. I don't know.
That's a new one
Probably-
on me.
Probably the same way that avocados down here were at first called alligator pears.
Really?
That's branding. I feel like some marketing company came up with that.
I hadn't heard alligator pairs either.
Talking about trivial information, I'm
Yeah.
loaded with it too.
Yeah. All right. So now we've got our bird on grower feed. What's next?
I think Jeff answered this when he was talking about dividing your time period into 3 and starter, grower, and developer. However that works out for your particular breed, go for it.
Yeah, some of the new hams, some of the really big dual-purpose birds that take 6 or 8 months, you've got to give them that time in each period, right? You can't, it's not one size fits all again, right? I can't say every chick is only 6 weeks on starter feed, 6 weeks on grower feed, 6 weeks on, that's not how that works.
All right, Rip, and you may have covered it, but how do people figure out when their bird reaches maturity to divide their breed, right? How are they going to decide how to divide it into 3?
Now remember, I said sexual maturity, which is first egg.
Yep.
I said sexual maturity, first egg, not full maturity,
Right.
like 1-year-old, 2-year-old.
And like Jeff said, you got to learn your breed for it to work really effectively for you. A question I used to get a lot when I was judging actively, how can I tell if my bird's mature enough to show or not, or to cull for color falls? And what I'd always tell them is, as for color, usually by the time they've molted and grown in, they're all their adult primaries. It's okay to evaluate a bird for color. Here again, that is so dependent. Karen, you raised Rhode Island Red.
So I was going to say, so first egg, right? That's a point in time, right? Now it can matter whether since Jeff is now checking his text, first egg time frame is going to be different whether you're raising spring chickens or fall chickens. That would still apply though, right? Because of their difference in growth rate, why that moves around, right? So you're just going to know it on your 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 57th year raising chickens, right? It's just not something you're going to know unless
it's
your
not
breeder
something
helps
you're going
you
to
out.
pick up on overnight. No,
Yeah.
it just takes a little experience.
But ask where you got your birds from, right?
Yeah, ask your breeder.
When you expect to see that first egg. And
Yeah.
All right, sorry. Just remembering all the things that messed me up at first. But Rip said the difference between my Australorps laying their first egg at 19 weeks and my Rhode Island Reds not.
Yeah, your Rhode Island should have been what, 24, 26 weeks? Somewhere around 24.
Lay an egg? Yeah, a little bit longer than that. But yeah.
Really?
Time of year, huge difference.
Okay.
So
we're not all talking about spring pullets.
No.
Okay.
because even if you're talking spring, right, in order for me to hatch enough, the first ones are hatched in February, the last ones are hatched in June. Do you know what I mean? So huge difference there.
What's our next question, Miss Karen?
When should I start offering oyster shells to pullets? After they've gone to the beach.
Oh, gee.
No? Okay.
You're feeling good tonight, Karen. I can tell.
I am ready for bed.
Rip, what do you think?
Honestly, I wait till I start getting an egg or two, and then I'll start supplementing with grit. With oyster shell. Just want to see if you're on your toes, Karen.
Yeah.
So here's the only caveat to that. And I agree with what you said, Rip, but for folks who can't find a pullet developer feed, I do want to start offering it at that last trimester of development, only because I want to build up bone density in that pullet. A lot of people don't understand that about half, and that's not a perfect number, but about half of the calcium used to form an eggshell comes out of a hen's bone, right? The other half comes out of what she eats. So we want to have really good, strong, healthy bones just before going into lay. So I would start offering it to them in the developer stage. Look, it's not tasty. They're not going to eat it just for fun. So you're not losing anything by offering it to them, and you're not going to hurt anything. Also, it trains them as to what it is, what it looks like. So when they're later in life, they'll be more apt to go looking for it. When I had birds here in the backyard, is one group of hens knew exactly what an oyster shell was, and they would eat them very well. The next group, no, they had no clue what this was. They didn't eat any. I have no idea. But I would start somewhere probably week 14, 15, 16 and let them start building up bone mass.
And that's free choice, right? You're not talking about putting it
No,
on
I'm
there.
not force feeding it. Yeah, that's all
Yeah.
free choice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oyster shells are getting hard to find. So folks who are listening, I would tell you to stockpile. Prices are going up and availability is getting harder. So if you still can go down to your local store and get them for a reasonable price, get extra. They never go bad. They don't spoil. They don't have a shelf life.
Poor Rip got all of his questions answered in one.
No, that's okay. As long as we're getting them covered, that's the main thing.
Sorry, Rip. I'm not looking at the cheat sheet.
Yeah.
That's all right. That's all right. Like they said, we already got to this one.
Yeah, you switch over at the first egg, right? That's the rule of thumb is you don't go to layer feed until you see the first egg, right? And then you switch the entire flock or that group over.
The one for Rip. Yeah.
Can oyster shells replace grit in my bird's diet? No.
Nope, not
Only
a bit.
by slip of the tongue.
Nope.
They are,
One's a calcium source.
yeah, the other one's hard granite.
Yep.
Calcium the oyster shells are too soft to do you much good. You want that hard granite grit to help grind the feed, work the gizzard, make the feed more digestible. So no, don't try to interchange them.
All right. Along those lines, just because we have it, Bill's been mixing 50-50 oyster shell, crushed dry eggshells, and offering it in a small separate feeder. Any benefits or problems with mixing them together versus 100% oyster shell?
Nope, that's perfect.
None
I
at
like
all.
it. The only thing I tell people if they want to refeed eggshells is to make sure, and this is only a personal phobia, there is no science behind this. I'd just as soon they not get offered still looking like an eggshell. I don't want to encourage egg eating by the birds. Crush them up good so they don't have any similarity to an eggshell. But
So-
I don't have any problem with that.
So at my fancy boutique chicken store locally, I can buy oyster shell that looks like actual shells. Do you know what I mean? As opposed to the oyster shell at Tractor Supply that looks like rocks, right? So they eat that infinitely better than they
Yeah.
do the rock stuff. Any
True
danger
oyster shell.
that they overeat it or
No, but they will. They're going to take a true oyster shell. They're going to take that a whole lot better than. So what Tractor Supply and some other places are passing off is a mixture of calcium chips and a little bit of oyster shell blended together. Simply because back to availability and price, oyster shell is getting hard to find, right? Keep prices down where everybody thinks they ought to be, right?
which
They've
is
now
basically free, right?
started blending. But yeah, I just heard oyster shell in Virginia was up to around $16 for 50-pound bag.
Whoa.
True oyster shell. Yeah. So again, stockpile.
But it's worth it.
Yeah, I was
It
gonna
is worth it. I
ultimately,
agree.
Yeah.
It's not quite. It's up like almost 60% from where it used to be $10 or $11 a bag. Now they're looking at 16 to 18. And this
I
is
remember-
buying it by the pallet in quantity. This isn't buying onesie twosies at the local.
Yeah. So it's probably up to $30 at the
Yeah.
I just remember the first time I put out the true oyster shells and the next day it was half gone and I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. It actually still has some of that sea life smell to it, and they can
Okay.
detect that.
Yeah.
And it's going to have a small amount of salt to it. So got a
That's
better
sort of what the
flavor,
egg
better
shells are
smell.
too, right? They're just a little bit more exciting than
Okay. Karen, do we
what
have any more?
questions do you want? Yeah.
We have questions. So,
Okay, that's done. So we're
all right.
What causes blood spots on yolks?
cut yourself.
So to
Make an egg.
Sue, take a close look and actually next time maybe get a tweezer or something and pull it, look at it a little. A lot of times those are actually meat spots. And as a hen ages, if there's a difference between a blood spot and a meat spot, but as a hen gets older, parts of her oviduct may slough off and come into the yolk way up in the oviduct or and it'll end up in near the yolk as a meat spot. And typically it's older hens, right? Now, when some of you listening, and sooner or later, eventually we'll all see this, but you'll see it looks more, it's a blood spot, and it actually looks more like a drop of blood incorporated in the egg somewhere. And it can be by the yolk, it can be somewhere else. And when you see that, it's a sign that somewhere along the oviduct, a blood vessel has ruptured. And look, there's a lot of trauma on that oviduct as that egg passes down through there. It's going to happen. Again, it's an age thing. You'll see a little bit more as the hen gets old, but it's odd to see it in a pullet egg unless she's had something traumatic or something. Yeah, that pullet, generally, we don't see it.
I want to say,
Mhm.
only because I ignored it for a while, I feel like it's a little bit genetic.
Could
Like,
be.
I feel
Could
like
be.
the daughters tended to, so maybe track that if
I
it's
don't
a
know.
bird that
Yeah.
you love to see what, because I mean, it's fine to eat and all that, but it's
Yeah.
not.
And she
the
said it
most
was
pleasant.
definitely blood. If it's definitely blood and not a meat spot, then the egg size may be too big. Also, for the size of the pullet, she might be trying to lay an egg that's way too big for her. You get a chance, weigh that egg and let me know. But it definitely is a blood vessel along the oviduct that has ruptured and secreted blood into that egg. So that's what causes it. Now we have to figure out why. I wonder if it's not egg size.
Could be. Shaggy's got a question here. I'm thinking about mobile A-frame grow pens. How many square feet of ground would you recommend for each chick 1 month old and on? Honestly, this is not anything I've had experience with.
A-frame, square feet, mature birds, daily move, wait, each chick 1 month old and on. Shaggy, the right answer is each square foot of ground can support 4 pounds of live animal weight per day. Okay, that's the only answer I can give you. When they're chicks at a month old, it's going to be 4 chicks per square foot. But by the time that they're mature, if you're talking about an 8-pound hen, depending on the breed, she's going to need 2 square foot per bird. So it graduates. Best rule of thumb I can tell you is 4 pounds live animal weight per square foot per day.
And that's rotated, right? That's not if you leave
Yes,
your mobile.
that's
frame.
not, yeah, that has to be moved.
Okay.
Yep. Let's see. Oh, hey, Sue Dobson is on it tonight. You told her to go weigh an egg. She went and weighed it, 1.9 ounces.
So
Yes.
almost a large egg.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's almost a large egg, but the hen should, or the pullet should be able to manage that. That's not, if she'd have come back at 2.2 or 2.5, then I could see why there would be a blood spot. Yeah, something in the oviduct. I don't know, unless she strained too hard or something, but there's no reason for it, Sue. You got me puzzled.
All right. We'd like, and just Samir's come back. We'd like Mike's design, right? Okay.
Mike's design.
I won't touch. Okay.
Go
yeah,
ahead.
you don't touch.
Now I'm done. You can do it.
Oh, Samir, the mobile A-frame like Mike's.
Yes,
We like that design.
we do. It's
Yeah.
really nice.
And if anybody hasn't seen it, he's got some nice YouTube videos out there of his.
I haven't seen it.
I
We can
will.
definitely go shoot
You may have to remind me tomorrow, but I'll link to it on our groups.
All right.
You pick, Rip. I won't touch.
No, I don't think we don't have another one, do we?
I don't know.
I don't see another one.
Okay. All right. We're good. We have one from early on that confused me because I spent 6 years doing this, ignoring everything that Jeff recommends. But I realized when I read the whole thing that I have yet to do anything that Jeff has recommended. Like, oh, me neither. Yeah. But then that has not greatly benefited me. Totally changed the meaning of that.
Come on, Karen. You are my best student ever.
It took me 6 years before I listened to you.
I know.
So, yeah.
He said you
once
was the
you-
best student, not the fastest learner.
She learned it. She just asked me 6 different
what to
times
do.
if that was the right thing to do. So
Yeah.
she vets her investments better than most people.
There you go.
Indeed, she does.
Yes.
Folks, that's all I've got tonight. Jeff or Karen, do y'all have anything else?
I think we're good.
Oh, we're good.
By golly, until next time, keep watching your birds. And hey, I know some of y'all are going to be getting some more severe cold and snow and all that kind of stuff out in the Midwest states. So please do what you can to keep yourself safe, you and your birds both, and to be prepared as much as you possibly can.
Keep them warm, but what? Ventilation.
Ventilation. Hey, Rip, before we sign off, and I don't know if anybody's made the frigid mix that I shared with John with the oil and the cracked corn and the wheat, but the other simple, easy thing is roughly a tablespoon of just cracked corn per hen per day, per bird per day, only when the temperatures go below freezing. Okay, don't get carried away, and use it as a supplement to their regular feeding program. So that's all they need.
Very good. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. Jeff and Karen, thanks for being here with all your support and help.
This brings us to the end of part 2 of this topic. We hope you enjoyed listening to this episode and learned some new information. Be sure to join us next week when we bring you a brand new subject.